Stephanie. Welcome and welcome back to Quilting Beauty and Books, my corner of YouTube. I pray that you and your family are all doing well today and that you enjoy today's video. In today's video, I am sharing with you my October reads. Again, it's going to be like I did last month. You will see different days of when I actually did the reading. I find that to be much easier than trying to remember all the books that I have read at the end of the month. So if you're interested in hearing my thoughts on the books that I have read for the month of October, keep watching. The Princess Spy. This is the retelling of the Frog Prince. I did not watch the Frog Prince prior to reading this book. I did YouTube it and watched it later. It is a retelling. It is nothing like the movie, but it was cute. I gave it a 4-star rating. It's about a young boy named Colin. Him and his friend were hot-headed and ran off after a guy named Claybrook, who murdered Colin's sister's friend. And yeah, they were hot and they ran after him. I don't know if they thought the two of them were Joshua and Caleb, and when they went and spied and stuff like that. I don't know if they had that spirit in them or what, but yeah, 2 against the army. Yeah, nah, not gonna happen, okay? While that was happening, Lady Margaretha is the talkative sister of Lord Velton from the earlier books that I read from this series. She's one of Duke Wilhelm's daughters. She is betrothed to be, not betrothed, she's looking to be betrothed. So right now she's courting a lot of men. They called them suitors back then. Trying to find her a match. She has to quickly get this done because she's been putting everybody off. So her sisters who are next in line could marry. I think it's 2 sisters under her or something like that. But yeah, Colin is brought into Hangenheim. He's been beaten up, left for dead, and she just happened to be, they say the right place at the right time. She just happened to be there when he was being brought in and called some guards to help them get him off of the cart, or off the wagon, I should say, and was helping him, the healer. She was helping the healer get him, back right, but he was kind of crazy, cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs for a little bit. So they thought. Because he kept saying that he wasn't going to tell them their name and stuff like that. So they gave him a name, Gawain or something like that. It was so cute. She just kept going back every day to make sure that he was okay. And come to find out, the suitor that she's, about to settle for is the one that Colin is after. She has to make up her mind what she's going to do. And she was like, in her head, how can she, this be? Who is she going to believe? Is she going to believe Lord Claybrook, or is she going to believe this foreigner who just came in and everybody thinks he's crazy? Well, what ended up happening is she ended up spying on Lord Claybrook and found out that, yeah, the foreigner was right. She ended up being on the run for her life. Well, Colin too. They were on the run for their life and got caught. Run for their life, got caught. Run for their life, got caught. And you know how, all fairy tales go. And then eventually there was a happily ever after. I can't say it was one of my favorites from Melanie, but it was a good book. I won't bash it or anything like that. It just wasn't my favorite out of all of her writing at this moment. So the next book is my favorite. My favorite book out of all the ones that I've read, and I think followed closely by The Merchant's Daughter and and the first one, The Healer's Apprentice. Those I absolutely loved, but not more than this one right here, The Orphan's Wish. Now I did read them out of order, but that's okay. I love this one. I think it has to do with the fact that it has adoptions and stuff in there and all that kind of stuff, but I'm not 100% sure why I loved it. I think the writing was absolutely phenomenal in this book. It is about Lady Margarita's one of her younger sisters, which is Lady Kirsten, and she is I just love her. She's not she's not as prim and proper as her other sisters, but she's like real cool people. I would want her to be my BFF, okay? This story is about a young boy who was orphaned as a child, a very young child, about 5 years old. His mom died, and he fell in the hands of a no good man who was a thief who wanted Aladdin to do a lot of stealing for him. And unfortunately, one day he gets caught. A priest happened to witness it, and he like, you know what, I'm going to take him in under my wing. And yeah, because the punishment for a thieving back then was you don't get your hand cut off. So he took Aladdin under his wing, and they actually moved him from, I want to say must have been in Arabia, because he was Arabic. And but I don't want to say if that's true or not, because they didn't specify. But the priest moved him to Hangenheim. And there, the priest worked with Aladdin, taught him integrity, taught him humanity, taught him what it's like to, to be honest and truthful. Aladdin worked really, really hard on those things. And most of all, he taught him about Christ, which, of course, I loved. And by the way, this book had more of the compassion of Jesus in it. That's why I think this one was really, really my favorite. And I keep saying I gotta break that. Hopefully the next clips won't have a lot of those in it. So Lady Kirsten and Aladdin, they were BFFs from day one. They played with each other. He was just like her protector, her best friend, and they were peanut butter and jelly. They were inseparable. And then the priest took ill and died. This was many years later. He took ill and died. And Aladdin felt like, you know what? He didn't want to be a nobody. He didn't want to feel like he had to steal and survive anymore. So he set off. He wanted to make a name for himself. He wanted to make his own money. He didn't want to rely on the Duke, because, him and the Duke's daughter were best friends. He didn't want any hand-me-downs and stuff like that. He wanted his own. And then, as he was leaving, he was like, okay, I know what I'm going to do. But his heart was breaking because he was separating himself from Lady Kirsten. And guess what? She was going through the same thing. She had to let him go to become a man, because that's what he wanted to do. Well, while he was away, he met a man named Herr Kaufman. Let me make sure that that man named Herr Kaufman. His son, he had a no good son, trifling son, just a hot mess. So he was disowning his son, and his son stole from him or whatever. And Aladdin went in and helped him with his business. He helped him start being more successful than what he was. God was really, truly at Aladdin's right hand. He reminded me a lot of David, and from in the Bible. So it was just really, really good to see Aladdin character grow from a young child to adulthood. And yeah, and things were going, he was getting pressured into some pressures, and he was like, no, this can't be, this not right. things happened, and all of a sudden, he was walking and he's looking up, and he happened to see a stork. A stork is something that him and Lady Kirsten love to watch, and he got a feeling and something wasn't right, and he didn't find out for 2 months later that something wasn't right, and that was Lady Kirsten was missing. So he went out to, try to find her and stuff like that, and to no avail. They couldn't find her. And then one day, she escaped from her captors and stuff like that, and they met up and all this kind of stuff. But Aladdin's life had changed at this time, and thinking she can pick up where they left off, being BFFs when they were very, very young and stuff like that. She had that mind, and Aladdin had to make some very, very hard decisions, not only for himself, but to all those around him. And Kirsten put him up on this pedestal to make him, that he was perfect. And he was trying his best to live up to being perfect. And as you already know, no man is. So I don't want to keep on talking about this book, because I've been told you the whole book. But this book was amazing. This is The Golden Braid. This is the retelling of Rapunzel. I loved this book. It was so, so good to me. Rapunzel is a young girl who lived with her mom. Mom was just, starting losing it more and more each day. And one day Rapunzel was talking to a guy, and Mom saw it. She flipped out. She moved them, and on the way to the new place, which was Hangenheim, they were jumped. And the captors were the captors were something else. And lo and behold, they were saved by Sir Garrick. Sir Garrick was really, really funny. He was just arrogant. He was a knight, he was all that and a bag of chips. And Rapunzel was like, he is so rude. Well, he went and he found he only found one of the guys that jumped him. And he went to take him to Hangenheim. And the guy ended up getting away and injuring Sir Garrick. Well, Sir Garrick had to be put up went to a monastery, and where he can heal. And it was going to take about 6 to 8 weeks for him to heal. And during that time, he was commissioned or told, since he's sitting up doing nothing, he was going to teach Rapunzel how to read. That was something that she wanted to do. And he did. It was like nothing, they were just really, really good friends. That was one thing about this book. It was that they were friends, nothing, no relationship, none of that. And her mom was just really, really starting to unravel, to a point where Rapunzel wanted to get away from her. And it was just really good to see how, Rapunzel wanted to stand on her own, and she did. And her mom just, I don't feel bad for her mom. Her mom was just a little bit cuckoo for Cuckoo Puffs. And the reason being is she was hurt. She was hurt by a man, you know what I'm saying? So, some girls who get hurt from a guy, they just do some crazy stuff. And it was on Facebook, probably was a couple months ago, where that woman ran over her boyfriend and beat him with the fender while he was laying down in the street and didn't know if he was dead or not. Yeah, so that was kind of, for real, that happened for real, y'all. It was just kind of, painful, you're with someone and all of a sudden, they jerk you around. So her mom had no trust in men. She did, it was just this whole thing that she went through. And unfortunately, Rapunzel happened to be, don't want to say collateral damage, but that's exactly what she was. she was the pawn, I should say, in her little plot. It was a great read. Of course, a whole bunch more stuff had happened, and I'm just not going to tell you about it. But it was a great read. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I will give this one also a 5-star. It was really good. Now, I'm not going to say I love this one more than An Orphan's Wish, but I can tell you it is like a tie. So, on to the next book. Guys, excuse the mess back here because I'm in the process of rearranging this room. But I wanted to come and tell you about this book here, The Silent Songbird. I thought I loved The Orphan's Wish. This one right here. I mean, boohoo tears, okay? If you don't know me, I am a sucker for romance. I love me some romance. And I think it's because I did grow up on Disney. I do believe every young girl should be married and happily ever after. But that's not every female's desire. I understand that. But I knew that's what I wanted. So with this book, young Evangeline, she is the ward of the king. She's actually, the king is her cousin, and he is forcing her to marry Lord Shively, who is creepy. And she was like, she dreamed of falling in love and getting married, as the peasants did, So she went and decided to take matters into her own hands. She's going to carve out her own life and, get the happiness that she wanted with the husband that she wanted because she loved him. And so she went off and took her servant decided to tag along because, that she wasn't going to let her go off by herself. And she happened to run off with the guy that she saw save a child, and he was nice enough to let her tag along. His name was Wesley, and she became a servant in his home. And honey, she sucked at everything. It was so funny. And yeah, it was so cute. I can tell you so much about this book, but I'm trying not to do a spoilery, review. But anywho, I'm trying real hard, so forgive me if I spoil a little bit. She ended up having saved his life several times. She learned to be more independent. Her maidservant thought she wasn't gonna last because she was, not used to hard labor. And she proved her wrong. She stood up for herself and stood up and had to tell. Now, all this time she was living a lie. She told them, her friend told her maidservant, told the guy they were traveling with that she was mute. She could hear, but she couldn't speak. So she had to confront, come face to face with that lie. She had to ask the Lord to forgive her. Of course, she had to ask everybody else to forgive her. Well, she also had to come face to face with her enemies as well as Wesley, the guy that she was traveling with, enemies. And it was just a really good book. And I hope I did the review some justice. I know I did my written review some justice. So go over onto Goodreads and follow it. But yeah, this book was so good. This is my favorite book, followed by The Orphan's Wish by Melanie Dickerson. So on to the next book, The Story Hunter by Lindsay A. Franklin, and this is book number 3 in the Weaver trilogy. This is the buddy read I did with my girl, Nay over at Daughter of Increase. As you guys already know, we do buddy reads every month, so feel free to join us at any point in time. So guys, I literally just closed this book This book had me riding on a lot of emotions. This book was so good. Um, a lot of fighting. A lot of fighting. Death on both sides, good side, bad side. Um, the great reveals and stuff like that. And one thing Lindsay did say in this book by one of the characters, Diggy, was that regardless of all the bad that she lived through, and regardless of when you wanted to give up, when you wanted to die, one of the other characters told her the hardest part is living, which is so true. But there is always hope. And that blew my mind. I was so emotional. I still have to do my um video for you guys about my PTSD. But guys, they hit up against it. I was really emotional. I had to take a moment. I told my husband I was on my phone. I like to read when my husband is on the phone and he's just quiet. He's working and I'm just listening to him breathe and I'm reading. And I had to take a moment. I was like, babe, I'll call you back. I had to just get this cry out, because of all the stuff, all the bad. There is still hope. And the hope is not within myself. It is from God. And I'm like, Lord, I need you. Thank you. Thank you. This book was very personal. Um, yeah, this trilogy is a must read. I love that in the beginning of the book, she wrote to my fellow survivors, this one is for you. I don't know if you can see that. I'm going to tell you. I was touched in so many ways with this book. So yeah, this a proper review will be on Goodreads. But just know it was at the end of book 2, they knew that they were going to have to fight to get the queen back, and the queen was being held hostage, and her friends were, and then Bragg had to, face some, truths about himself and of what he is allowed to happen. And it was just really good. Like I said, it was a lot of fighting, a lot of death, a lot of having to work together, a lot of soul searching. And it was good. It was really good. So on to the next book. The Warrior Maiden was really good. Melanie did kind of stay true to the Disney format of Mulan. Mulan, as we know, she went into war instead of her father. So in this case, to save her and her mom from getting kicked out of her home, and also from her marrying a guy that she does not have nothing, she wants nothing to do with him. So she goes into war disguised as a man, and there she meets Wolfgang, who is one of the Duke of Hangenheim's younger sons. Wolfgang and Stefan had grown up, or Stefan, I should say. I'm thinking of Steve Urkel, Stefan. Stefan are now old enough to fight in their father's place. And so they go off to fight for their father, for the Duke of Conrad, and so does Milan. Milan changes her name from Milan to Mikolai, who was also her father's name. I love the story of Mulan. The story I'm talking about right now. I'm sorry, my one lock just want to fly right. It's trying to be unruly. Mulan is I love the story of Mulan, the way that Melanie tells it of her history. And yeah, she goes to fight, and she's alongside Wolfgang fighting for the Duke of Conrad. And of course, she has a secret. And but lo and behold, so does Wolfgang and his brother Stefan have a secret as well. And yeah, the story was written beautifully. It came a time where, what is the enemy's name? Oh, what's that creep name? Rustov. He was just a jerk. He was old fashioned in his beliefs. I'm gonna put it that way. And yeah, and he just a jerk. Just a jerk. So Milan had to go about and figure out, fighting and stuff like that. And then, all of Melanie's books, there is a guy, there is a girl, there is the question of love. And this one, I was getting kind of perturbed. I'm like, Lord, please don't tell me I have to go through over 100 pages of him and howing. He loves me, but I don't know. I don't know if he loves me. I love him. Woo, woo, woo. But I loved it. As you know, I am a romantic, so I was down with it. I stayed true to it. And it was she just really, really wrote this story beautifully. What I did like was that Wolfgang was, if you think of like Prince Harry and his brother, what is the brother name? If you think of it as Prince William and Prince Harry. Prince William and his children will get before Prince William and his children will get before Prince Harry. If you think of it that way, with the Hangenheim series, it's Valton and Gabe will get more, stuff than Wolfgang and Stefan, because they're at the lower end of the totem pole. So Wolfgang won't go, pretty much get nothing. He will have to work always for the things that he, want to attain. And he, recognizes that about himself. He has nothing. He has nothing to offer a woman other than his love. And he's fighting with that. And how can he ask someone to marry him when he has nothing to give her? So he's having to learn a lesson about himself, about love and staying with Mulan, about love and acceptance, and walking in her prophecy. That's all I'm going to say. Guys, it was an awesome, awesome read. I do love it because I don't know, it's something about the last books in the hardcover format. She is knocking them out the park. I am loving every single one of them. My favorite ones still at this moment, they're tied, is An Orphan's Wish and The Silent Songbird, even though I think that one is just a hair above An Orphan's Wish. So yeah, on to the next book. The book is Piper's Pursuit. I love this book, guys. This was a little bit of, it's a retelling of the Pied Piper. So it had a little bit of the Pied Piper mixed with the Prodigal Son. I think this is the first time, or the first time at least that I caught it, that Melanie actually put a biblical story inside one of her retellings, and it was perfect. I love the fact that Katerina, it's about a young girl named Katerina who is the mayor's daughter of another town. And her stepfather is the mayor, and he is a donkey. He is evil. He is a creep. He verbally abuses his wife and, of course, Katerina. And yeah, it was just horrible. At this time, their town had an infestation of these rats. I mean, honey, these rats were going after the folks and all this kind of stuff. And then it was a beast of Hamlin, going around dismembering and killing people, and they didn't know what the heck was going on. And Katerina was trying to figure out what the heck is going on, but her stepdaddy is trying to get all the accolades, and he's done this, see me, see me. Should remind y'all of somebody else, but we ain't going there. But yeah, it was crazy. She written this book so well. In this book, of course, it had to do with Hangenheim, and guess who was in it? This is Stefan's story. I am Stefan. I want to call that man boy Stefan so bad. I'm going to get out of my head. Stefan's story. I was so happy he was able to redeem himself. Yes. And I mean, the part, excuse me, when they talking about the prodigal son has returned, it was so good. I was so happy. And what I liked about this one, it was not at page 30 that she fell in love. Now at page, probably around that time, they did talk about, oh, he's handsome, she's beautiful. They did do that, but it wasn't that they fell in love at that time. So I didn't have to go through 200 and some pages, of them humming and hawing, okay? So it was a relief or a small release from that pressure. But it was really good. I will put this one equal with the Silent Songbird and the other new ones in the hardcover. Which ones was it? An Orphan's Wish and Mulan. I will put them two tied. I mean, just this close, right up under. I really enjoyed this book. Now I'm really sad because now I gotta go on to the last one, which is called The Peasant's Dream, and I look forward to reading that one. So I will see you guys in a little bit. The Peasant's Dream. Guys, I cannot tell you that I like this book better than the last 5 books. This one was good. I'm not gonna say it was bad or anything like that. It was good. It was just that I wasn't into this book as I was into the other ones. Now, I do like the concept of the reverse Cinderella story. And this one is about Duke Wilhelm's last daughter, Adela. She wanted more than just, become a wife and be stuck with a mundane life. She wanted to adventure. She wanted to be an artist, and she wanted someone as a husband who would understand those wishes. Of course, there is a guy there who's trying to woo her, and she's like, I don't know if he's the one, that kind of thing. And well, she was over with Frau Lena, who is the healer, and in come this young guy who was, needing Frau Lena's assistant for his neighbor's child. He was saying the child couldn't breathe, needed help, and he rode all this way, half an hour away, and needed her help. She gave him the herbs. The baby was saved. He is a hardworking young man. He works on a farm. He has an abusive father, and he has dreams. He wants to be a wood carver. So it was about, him being true to who he was made to be, and he wanted to take care of his mother and his trifling twin sisters. They were trifling in the beginning, but then they got some sense about themselves, so I did appreciate that. But yeah, it was really good book. Now, I can tell you my expectations, what I thought was going to happen in this book. Now, we did get a little mixed love with, what was it, the Warrior Maiden, with, who was it, Wolfgang, and, was it Katerina? No, Katerina was in the Piper's, in the Mulan book. I can't even remember the girl name now. she was trying to be, oh, Mulan, duh. I was thinking of her warrior name, which she went under the assumption of Mikulai. But no, I was waiting to see if, was Adela gonna fall in love with maybe, a black man, or at least a mixed man or something like that. I was hoping that. I don't know why I was hoping that, but I really was. I was also hoping that she would want to not, well, this part came true, and it might be a little spoilery. Sorry about this part, but she didn't, let me put it this way, she didn't want to be the spoiled princess everyone or people she thought. She didn't want to be the spoiled princess people say that she was. So she wanted to live differently, and I think that came across very, very well. So my only expectation was, I was hoping to see another, out of the 11 books, another mixed arrangement, marriage, or something like that. But I didn't get it, but that's okay. Like I said, the book was okay. I did enjoy it. I look forward to reading more from Melanie Dickerson. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. I read a lot of books, a lot of romance. This month was all about the romance. Guys, go ahead and like and share this video. Go ahead and subscribe if you haven't done so. If not, what are you waiting on? Come on in and join the family. And while you're at it, click the bell so you'll be notified of my next upload. Follow me over on Goodreads and over on Instagram, both with the handle Quilting Beauty and Books. And until the next video, guys, be blessed.